Starting the evening off right with an evening coffee. How do you feel about it, Naomi?
Stop having coffee and staying up till like 4.
Yeah, well,
Stop it.
I got work to do.
Then fucking wake up earlier instead of staying up so late.
Hey, you can't swear in the first minute of a YouTube video or else I get demonetized.
Well, shit. You can edit this out.
Okay, so I'm here doing a movie thing. Get the little Naomi, by the way, in the movie video artwork.
Yeah, it's cute.
Yeah, it's like a little plush.
I also appreciate how they have me in sandals, because apparently the artist knows how much I hate socks.
So, ever since Kenobi, I've decided to dip my little toes, into the idea of covering some media. Not all media, but like as we know.
I wouldn't call them little toes.
Oh, fuck off. I haven't really been a media guy, but when we did Santa Inc. last year, it kind of...
Wait. I haven't been a media guy.
Okay.
Used to do anime reviews.
And also did the film school thing. Yeah, I know. No. I meant in terms of this channel. This channel's always, like, here's the thing. People in my sphere of the internet, they cover, like, politics, and they'll cover drama, and they'll cover media, but in the context of, wow, this show is terrible, and there may be a political or a drama reason as to why.
Isn't that why you started doing it?
Yeah, I was avoiding that basically until you and I watched Santa Inc. And then earlier we watched Cuties. And even though Cuties sucked and Santa Inc. sucked, the experience of watching them with you and like doing a video was actually pretty fun. Yeah. So I was like, maybe I should do this a bit more. So then we did Kenobi, and Kenobi was a big fucking. It was way too big of a project. It's a huge project, but I enjoyed it. And so I was like, Jesus, there's like 4 awful shows coming out right now. There's the Star Wars Andor show, which looks okay, but I mean, everyone thinks it's gonna be bad, and it might be bad.
Star Wars was always bad.
Star Wars is always bad.
Yep.
There is the Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power show with Eminem, with Eminem as Sauron. And then there's She-Hulk, which I did watch, and oh my god.
Yeah, Dev watched the first episode and then showed me clips, and I was like, why the fuck is this so cringe?
You walked out, you wouldn't watch it with me.
No.
Want to see it?
No,
Just
I
the first
don't.
minute?
No.
I'm turning it on just for a minute.
No.
Okay, watch this, and you're gonna cringe instantly, okay?
I'm already cringing.
See you later, litigator. Badass woman. A Ruth Bader Ginsburg fucking bobblehead. And I am not arguing, I'm just explaining why I am right.
That should be you on a t-shirt.
But like this entire show is literally just girl boss. And then there was this show, which is the Game of Thrones House of the Dragon show. The thing about House of the Dragon is it kind of snuck up on everyone. Mm-hmm. Like everyone, I think Game of Thrones' final season was so god awful, and the last few seasons before that were like so middle of the road compared to like the first 5, that everyone forgot this show was coming. Yeah. It looked like shit when the trailers came out like a year or 2 ago. Well, and then everyone forgot, and then it just happened. Like I look on Twitter and it's like, oh, House of the Dragon is out. Well, like the day it happened.
Here's the thing. I don't think anyone forgot. I think that everyone just got burned by Game of Thrones so fucking bad that they were just like, no, like the entire internet was actually no, we're not going to pay attention.
Yeah.
Like the first one of the few times that's happened. Is this.
It's like an inverse Morbius, where like they actively willed it into existence again. They actively willed House of the Dragon away. Yeah. I was pleasantly surprised by House of the Dragon in that it was like a solid okay. It wasn't amazing. It wasn't as good as Game of Thrones at its best. No, but it wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be.
I am not going to hold out hope. Just in case. No, I do. See, the thing is, I've learned over the years that if you have no expectations, you generally feel happier.
Is that how you do with me?
No comment. No. But like, I wasn't exactly pleasantly surprised. Like, I had a feeling it was gonna be okay, and it was okay. Mm-hmm. But I do not hold out hope that it's gonna get as good as Game of Thrones did.
No, I don't think it will either.
But I will say that Matt Smith was not as bad as everyone thought he was going to be.
He looked awful in the trailer. Because, like, the wig doesn't fit him, his face doesn't really fit.
In the trailer or the first episode?
The trailer.
Okay. Because I was just like, the wig doesn't look that bad in the first episode? You made that comment, and I was just like,
I think it looked kind of bad.
I mean, to be honest, I have a terrible eye for these things. Like, like, apparently I know someone who wears a toupee and I can't tell.
By the way, I guess at this point we should probably we should now probably say we're gonna get into spoilers because we haven't spoiled anything yet.
Yeah, spoilers. By the way, don't yeah.
Yeah, now click off. You know what?
Don't watch.
Why are you even watching my fucking video if you don't want to be spoiled? Fuck you. Okay. So listen.
Also, don't read any of the comments because you're gonna get spoiled.
Well, I talked to Mahler, and Mahler was like, "Yeah, She-Hulk is awful, but House of the Dragon was actually like it was a pleasant surprise." I talked to Arch, and Arch was like, "No, House of the Dragon's still awful." And here's the reason that he gave. Here's the reason that he gave. Okay. He said that the young princess being kind like quasi lesbian with her handmaiden that's like progressive shoehorning.
No.
Which I didn't feel that at all. That just felt like that felt like a more natural lesbian relationship than a lot of the ones that we're getting right now.
It would have been shoehorning if, I can't even think of a good example. Give me a good example of lesbian shoehorning.
Steven Universe.
I like that show though, so I can't.
Okay, fine. The finale of My Little Pony. They just made two of the ponies together.
I mean, I guess. I don't know though. Like every time someone talks about shoehorning stuff in, but they just give an example that's just a surprise. It just happened off screen, and I'm like, yeah, that's bad. But I've never really felt like it's shoehorning. It's like you wouldn't have the same comment if two of the characters were a guy and a girl and still got together,
That's true.
So I never feel like it's shoehorning when someone I agree that it's bad because it happened off screen.
Well, also there's the stereotype of girl power, we're together, and fuck the patriarchy, which this show didn't really do.
No, yeah, I think that would have been in this show specifically a more obviously she's going to her and her beautiful lover who is another lady or fucking gonna plan to kill the king or they Mary Sue their way out of some.
They didn't do that, no.
Yeah. No.
Well, that's the second thing though is that Arch I think Arch called her a Mary Sue or something similar to it, because we are told that she's intelligent, but we aren't shown. And I'm like, hold on, no, we are shown that she's intelligent. Because there's they do the exact scene with her that in the first episode of Game of Thrones, they did with Bran. So you will go all the way back to the first season of Game of Thrones. There's a scene where Bran is sitting around, and he's being taught by the Maester. And he's like, you have to say, what's the house? Is it Bran or Arya? It's one of the two. But anyway, it's like, what's the house? And
Arya.
Is it Arya? Okay. Well, either way.
Well, no, but the name. You said Arya. It's Arya.
I don't care anymore. Okay. Anyway, the Maester was like, okay, what's the house and what's their sigil? And you have to know all this stuff because it's important. And the person, whichever kid it was like, yeah, I know this already. I know it. And didn't care. And the Maester was like, yeah, take it seriously. He's like, I already know it. And then they just rattle it off, right? They did a very similar scene where they're lying in the Godswood, and it's not the Godswood, it's just a tree, isn't it? No, that was Godswood. I don't remember anything about Game of Thrones. Okay. I don't know any of the names anymore. But you know this episode. They were lying in the forest, okay? And pretty sure it was a garden, but sure. And they had the book open. Yes. And the princess was like, I already know this stuff. And the handmaiden was like, you have to know this stuff. And then she's like, all right. And then she just rattled it off. Yeah. It's the same scene. Yeah. And it's meant to show that she's actually intelligent. She just doesn't care. She's not stupid. Some people are saying that she is being treated like a Mary Sue, and I don't think so. I disagree with that statement. I think that they definitely established her as one, being neglected by her father. Yep. And 2, therefore being rebellious, and 3, she seems to be quite naturally intelligent, and they showed all of that. It wasn't a problem of show not tell. They showed that. Let's do a quick TLDR of the show's plot. Okay, you have the king, and he's not really a weak king necessarily, but he has his problems, and they seem to be kind of getting to him. You have his wife the queen, and she's pregnant, and she's trying to give him an heir because he doesn't have any male heirs. You have his brother, and his brother is the prince, and he's next in line since the king can't produce a male heir, and the brother's kind of sadistic, and he seems to be kind of a bad apple. And then you have his daughter, and his daughter is the princess, and this is the intelligent, not a Mary Sue, but people are calling her a Mary Sue lesbian character. Okay. Maybe lesbian. Maybe. There's hints. There's hints of it. The lesbianisms. You think they're slamming clams? Well, here's the thing, to broach off into a
since we're doing a TLDR to broach off into a different part of that, is that, like, there's hints of it, but also the character that there's hints with seems to be very much into dudes.
I think they both seem to be into dudes. They just also seem to be into each other.
Yeah,
they
like, I guess, but it's...
I like how you're bi and you're like, being bi isn't satisfying.
No. I'm not saying it's not satisfying. I'm saying that because Hollywood forgets that bi characters exist unless they are shoehorning them in for some reason.
Sometimes, yeah.
All the fucking time.
But to be fair, Game of Thrones is pretty good about that, generally. About not doing that shit.
Yes, but this Game of Thrones is bad. So
okay.
Yeah. So who the fuck knows?
Anyway, the story is basically they're trying to have an heir. The king is very much like, I need a fucking heir, dude. And like there's like a bunch of tension surrounding this.
Yeah.
They hold a tournament, and the tournament's supposed to be to celebrate the birth of his child.
Yeah, because the wife is like almost due. Her belly is big and super gross.
Yeah. And,
no offense to pregnant women. I can't.
So she goes into labor during the tournament. It goes poorly. They have to cut it out of her.
Okay, that was a graphic scene.
That was a really graphic scene.
And it was legitimately upsetting.
Yeah, to watch.
Like,
holy shit.
Yeah, like if you or your girlfriend, like are not okay with like really graphic, like harm to pregnant women, you might want to like kind of fast forward through that scene. That it's a long scene.
It's actually a pretty long scene.
Yeah, well, because
there's a lot of blood.
Yeah, because they cut into parts of the really graphic part. You'll know it when it starts to come up. The really graphic part to parts in the tourney, which is also graphic, but honestly was better.
Yeah, where they're like beating guys' faces and like cutting off their hands and shit. And it's not as graphic as the pregnancy
it was extremely upsetting. Like, you guys just heard me say I
wasn't actually upset.
I was. Like,
yeah,
I was not
triggered.
okay. I was. Totally. But, like, you guys just heard me say that I did not like the look of pregnant women's bellies, and I'm still just like, holy shit, that was really upsetting.
Well...
So, yeah.
So they have to cut it out of her. She dies. The baby survives a bit, but dies.
Yep.
And so this is like a major tragedy for the kingdom.
Yep.
And the kingdom is kind of falling apart, and there's no heir. And however, the heir, the legal heir, the council comes together and is like, listen, you can't have your legal heir be your brother because he's fucking crazy, dude. Because what happened earlier was that there was he is the Lord Commander of the Gold Cloaks, which is the City Watch,
which is new.
It's new at this point
yes.
of the history. It's 172 years before the original Game of Thrones show.
Yeah, and we don't remember anyone's names, by the way.
Oh, whatever.
So, sorry.
Well, Daemon was
yeah, but I don't remember anyone's names.
Anyone else?
No.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone's names. I didn't even remember his name to who said it. I don't know anyone's names.
Well, anyway, there's a scene where, like, in order to prepare for the tourney, he gets all the gold cloaks, and they go out into King's Landing. They find all the murderers and kill them. They find all the rapists and castrate them. And they find all the thieves and chop their hands off.
Yep.
And then the council is like, dude, you gotta get hold of your brother because he's going way too fucking far with this stuff.
Yeah, he's going so far that they needed a cart pulled by 2 horses to drag all the fucking...
corpses and bodies and parts away.
Fuck. Yeah. Like, that actually made me laugh. That was just like, yep.
So... they're like, listen, you can't have your brother be
this crazy.
He can't be the king if you die. Like, he can't be your heir. And the king's like, he's still my brother. But then, like, his brother goes off and celebrates with the gold cloaks. He celebrates the death of the king's newborn son.
Yeah.
By calling him, was it heir for a minute?
No, it was heir for a day.
Heir for a day.
Yeah.
And then
the king finds out.
The king finds out. He's royally pissed. He's royally pissed.
Royally
pissed. And so he banishes him back to Dragonstone, and then Yes, he does. Isn't Dragonstone?
No, it was back to the Vale with his wife.
I thought it was back to. Well, either way, he banishes him, and then the king names his daughter for the first time. The first time a woman gets to do it. His daughter is now the heir to the throne, and then the king is like, "Listen, dude." Here's the secret passed on from all the kings, is that one day, in maybe 172 years from now, we are going to have to fight the White Walkers.
No, okay, no,
and also, hold on, and then the king is like, also, by the way, this entire prophecy that I'm passing on to you is actually completely false, because Arya kills him anyway with the dagger.
Yeah.
Actually, I think that's going to be a thing, because if you notice, the king had the dagger that Arya used to stab him. What the king actually said is that the first Targaryen king of Westeros, had a dream, and the dream was a prophecy, and it's that winter is coming, and that there's going to be the army of darkness will march down from the north, which is, by the way, what happens in Game of Thrones.
I don't think he actually said army. He literally just said that darkness is going to come from the north. He was actually super vague about it, which I appreciated. But the cringy part was what the prophecy was called.
It was called the Song of Ice and Fire.
It was cringy.
But
who the fuck calls a prophecy then?
Well, that's what it was called in the original books.
Okay.
And it's like a medieval.
George R.R. Martin, that's cringy as fuck. Don't call the prophecy that.
Well, that's why the book series is called the Song of Ice and Fire.
You can just call it a Song of Ice and Fire, and then not have the prophecy be named that. That's just cringy. That just sounds like a terrible name for a prophecy. Well, that's my issue with it.
Everything was recorded in ballads and poetry and stuff, so it makes sense.
I don't care. It's bad.
You just dislike the medieval times.
That's
you know what? I've never bring you medieval times ever.
Okay, I'll go without you.
Not allowed.
And I'll fuck a hot lady.
Fuck you. Okay. So yeah, like that's the TLDR of the plot, and I don't know, like the actors that they chose for the roles, they seem to be not quite right, each of them.
Yeah,
it's the princess, the king, the brother, they all like.
It strangely feels not. Like, the thing with Game of Thrones, I think one of the reasons why everyone liked it so much is because with the first episode, you were just drawn into that world. Like, with the actors and the sets and I think, still kind of bad CGI back then. It
has some better CGI as it went on. Yeah, but there was bad CGI in this. Holy fuck.
Yeah, like,
the cart, the backgrounds.
Yeah.
Who?
Yeah, you just get drawn into the world because of how, like, lived in and grungy and, like, everything how people looked.
Yeah.
You know? And, like, how they sounded and how they acted. I think it was because, like, in the original Game of Thrones, they were pretty high-tier actors, and these ones, they probably aren't so high-tier. Again,
Maybe.
Probably budget issues. Like, except, technically, Matt Smith,
yeah.
I guess.
I think part of it, though, is also the fact that in the first episode of Game of Thrones, you get to see everyone's perspective, okay? You get to see highborn and lowborn characters. There's kings and princes, and there's princesses, and there's queens, and there's royal ladies. But then you also get to see
bastards.
Yep, there's bastard. You get to hang out with Jon Snow. You get to hang out with Tyrion, with Theon. You get to hang out with Arya when she's like running around, and Bran when they're like running around.
Yes.
With like basically being street rats. Like there's instances where we get to see the points of view of people who aren't royalty, even if they might be a little bit.
Yeah.
And there's also like non-royal characters directly as well.
Yeah.
Like the prostitutes. But in this show, there's not much of that. It's all.
It was only the prostitutes.
It's all like court drama.
Yeah.
Which is fine, but you need to establish the world first. Like if this was a standalone show and they hadn't made Game of Thrones, this wouldn't have gone anywhere, I think.
Yes, I agree. I think because that's the thing to branch off also. A lot of the first episode felt really rushed. Like, it felt like a lot of stuff. It was like, what, an hour long? How long was it?
It was an hour long.
Yeah, it felt like, and that's the thing though, it was an hour. A lot of stuff happens.
Well, to be fair, a lot of stuff happened in the first episode of Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
they introduced like all the houses, they introduced all the people.
It didn't feel rushed, is my point.
I don't think this felt rushed.
It did, to
I don't
me.
think so.
It felt like a lot of stuff just, like, happened, and I think that to fix, not having commoner issues problem is to not banish Daemon before the first episode and have him, like, be, while kind of a crazy person, like, show his interpersonal relationships a bit with the commoners.
But like episode 2, yeah.
Yeah, because, he made the comment when he was in the council meeting that none of them left the Red Keep.
Except for him, because he's the city commander, yeah.
To go down and, like, be around the commoners. This is one of the reasons he stated that he had to, like, fucking do all the shit that he did.
Which is a bit of a cope.
You know, but I
know what you mean, yeah.
I think that would have actually solved an issue. Because it felt really rushed. I don't know, you guys gotta go watch it and tell me if you agree with me, but it felt rushed.
You could have had him, like, be banished by the end of the second episode, that would have worked. But I understand their point of view is that they wanted to get the main conflict of the show started, which was going to be, by the way, the Civil War that is already in the lore of the book. So they're doing that story of the Civil War between the king's brother and the king's daughter. So they wanted to make that the central story of the show. So they wanted to actually show the event that kicked it off, which is the death of the queen, the fact that there's no male heir, and then Daemon, even though he is... Like, here's the thing. He's clearly a bad person.
Yeah, he's not good.
But he made a good point when he was having his final discussion with the king, where it's like, listen, I'm your family, everyone else in the council is just sucking up to you and not telling you the truth, which actually seems to be the truth.
Which
in a sense.
was correct for a thing I actually don't want to spoil because it's pretty good. Like that happened before that scene where it was like, oh, I didn't say it out loud, but I was like, oh my god, look, he's right. He's showing all the points, and they already showed that was good storytelling, guys.
Yes, it was. Even though Damon's not a good person, there are still moments where it's like, listen, you might be making a mistake sending him out in the cold, especially because he's dangerous.
Yeah,
you know?
Like it was a weird feeling of like he is very obviously not a good person, but also just like cute moments with Nice, you know, like trying to like protect his brother and obviously feeling
Angry, abandoned. Yeah.
Abandoned. Yeah. No, by his brother before the banishment, right? Because he had said that you haven't made me your hand. What? Why? Fuck you.
Yeah. And that's one thing that I think the show did very well, is that it has those gray characters.
Yeah.
That Game of Thrones is really well known for.
Yeah.
Like, no one's really good and no one's really evil. Like, you have characters that are more evil than good, for sure, but everyone has...
There's small moments of you sympathize, and then you look at yourself and be like, what the fuck, why did I sympathize?
Meanwhile, when you have fucking She-Hulk, where She-Hulk is just right...
Don't bring She-Hulk into this.
Where She-Hulk is just correct in every circumstance,
Dev,
and
this
Bruce
is my
Banner...
safe space, I don't want She-Hulk in it.
And the Hulk is just considered like a fucking moron, even though he's been doing this for over... Oh god, that show was bad. So, actually...
No.
We're
not talking about She-Hulk.
No, we're not.
This.
Here's the thing. I expected to have to be like, oh god, we gotta make a terrible fucking video on how bad House of the Dragon is, like how I'm probably gonna make one on She-Hulk eventually, or on that Halo show. Oh god, you want to finish watching?
No, fuck you.
We watched the first episode of the Halo show, and Naomi walked out. She's like, this is so fucking bad.
Okay, you know what's
it's
funny?
So fucking bad.
You know what's funny?
And
though?
You love Halo.
Well, yes, to a degree, not as much as people who
the game, not the show. Obviously.
Yeah, not as much to people who play Halo all the time. I have a few good memories of Halo, and so I do enjoy the games. But anyway, I will say this about Halo, since Dev decided to mention She-Hulk, is that I think it would have been an okay series if it hadn't had the name brand Halo and all the Halo things in it.
I don't know about that.
I think it would have... I didn't say good, I said okay.
Yeah. Anyway.
What ruined it was that it said it was Halo, and it wasn't.
So my point is that I was expecting to have to make a review or a video on how awful House of the Dragon is, and here's how bad the CG is, and here's how they ruined this, and here's how they ruined that, and there might have even been a political element to it where you get like the get woke, go broke thing. But we're talking about it like this right now in a more off-the-cuff manner, where it's not an edited video, because I was pleasantly surprised. I can actually recommend it to you. I can say, you know what? Even though every single fucking thing coming out, whether it's a reboot or a remake or a sequel no one wanted or a rehash or even just a new show, even though they all fucking suck, every single one of them, I can actually recommend this. So I'm not going to do any sort of big in-depth review unless the show like craters in the next few weeks. I'm not going to do any sort of big in-depth review like Kenobi or anything. I think I'm going to say you should watch this one.
Yeah, I mean, I do recommend it, but I also... I'm torn, because part of me wants to recommend it and be like, give the show a chance so they get a better budget and can do better CGI.
Give peace a chance.
However, I also don't want to recommend it because the show is okay and it's gonna do either one of two things. One, it's gonna get better, and that means it's gonna be better than Game of Thrones, which is just gonna make me sad because Game of Thrones was really good and then got torn asunder.
Yes.
Or it's gonna go real bad. I'm gonna go real bad, and I'll be like, I can't watch anything anymore.
Well, we watched
anything.
Hold on, we watched Star Trek: Strange New Worlds, and we were both surprised that show was actually good too.
Yeah, but.
And even by the end, you were like, "Oh, this is a good show." Like, all the way through, it was a good show.
It was still like, but like, it was still only on par with like the okay episodes of TNG.
That's pretty good compared to fucking Picard.
Yeah, well, you know what? My fucking view wouldn't be so fucking destroyed if you hadn't made me watch Picard.
That was a fun time.
Never ever watch Picard.
We should do a Picard video.
Fuck you. No, I refuse to live through any of that ever again. My soul hurts.
You know, just talking about it.
No, my soul hurts. I have actually, like, mostly gotten rid of most of Picard. I don't remember most of it anymore.
Remember the part when, like, the autistic girl was the Borg Queen? There was actually an article put out where the showrunner of Strange New Worlds pitched the show to the studio by saying, why don't we just do the classic Star Trek? Like, you don't need some kind of big, long, you know, so you don't need some kind of huge plot where the entire galaxy, the entire universe is at stake, and there's like constant starship battles and crazy shit going on, and it lasts the entire. Just do standalone episodes.
Yep.
And have like a reasonably well-liked cast
Yep.
doing adventures every single day,
Yep.
and resolving them by the end of the adventure. And maybe you have a little morality tale in there, or maybe it's like a little science fiction thing, or maybe it's like a puzzle problem, like whatever.
But they do.
Just do Star Trek, and that's what they did, and it was good.
Yes, but they also do this more modern storytelling thing that I do enjoy. Of they have episodic episodes, but there's small tie-ins to past episodes.
Yeah, because there's one character who dies and he's actually gone.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
there's small tie-ins, and I've always enjoyed it. I like how modern shows have done that, because I found a lot of old shows just don't do
They're
that.
so episodic and nothing ever
like,
changes.
and it annoys me so much.
I mean, that was the big problem with Voyager, is that it got too episodic, where, like, B'Elanna Torres was dealing with being half Klingon the entire 7 fucking years of the show.
Yep.
And that got old pretty fucking quick after you did it, like, 10 times.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, House of the Dragon,
It's okay.
it's okay. And you know what? I'm not gonna do a video on it unless it, like, massively tanks in the next few episodes. I think I will wait. I'll talk about She-Hulk probably at some point and how terrible that is, and I'll probably talk about we all know Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power is going to be fucking abysmal.
I don't want to watch it.
Oh my god, it's going to be abysmal.
I haven't even watched the new quote unquote movies yet.
Well, here's the thing, like
Hobbit
Arch
movies, I haven't seen them.
I think like Arch and Kibbs and Lilith and I are going to do like a 4-person watch party of Rings of Power.
You guys should. You watch the first episode and then tell me how it is, and I will give it a chance. Because honestly,
I'll just say it's great, and then it'll be fucking like so bad. Don't kick the computer.
And then you'll be single.
Anyway, if you like Game of Thrones, give House of the Dragon a chance. It's not
Of course,
bad.
this is only the first episode that we're doing this in.
Yeah, it's not
so give it at least the first episode a chance.
Give it a chance, okay?
And you'll have to forgive it for the terrible CGI.
Yeah.
Because I don't care about those sort of things, because I watch terrible looking anime, because I do things I'm not allowed to talk about on YouTube.
I guess that's the end. How does Red Letter Media usually end these things?
By throwing beer at things.
Oh yeah. And then they go da 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 da.